Good afternoon, guys. Welcome back to the channel. It's Wednesday, the 14th of August. We've just had the core year-on-year CPI come out at 2.9%. The consensus was 3 and previous was 3% also. So it was slightly lower than expected, but not too drastic. So the overall inflation trend hasn't changed too much. It's still going into a downtrend. We are, previous was 3, then we had 3.3, then 3.4, and back in March was 3.5. So we can see each month we are getting lower and lower. However, we aren't going down at a concerning rate. We are moving to the downside, but it's nothing necessarily that is cause for the emergency alarm bells. However, what does this mean for the Fed? Well, we have a 54.5% expectation that we'll see a 25 basis point cut. There is a 45.5% chance that we'll see a 50 basis point cut. Now, I am on the side of more of caution. I think we will see a 25 basis point cut. I don't think there is enough warranted for an aggressive cut such as a 50 basis point cut. Now, we also need to take into account that the Fed needs to be cautious for recession fears rather than strong evidence of controlled inflation. So, having said that, it's almost certain we will get a cut in September. Now, I am looking towards the 25 basis points, and I think that the majority of people are. Like I said, I don't think 50 is warranted. But what does this mean for the markets? Well, we can see already, this is almost an hour and a half after we've had the CPI release. We've had oil coming down lower. We've got silver coming down lower. We have the US dollar Mexican peso coming lower. We have the dollar yen starting to lose a bit of strength. It's giving back some of the gains we've had over the past couple of days. Nothing too drastic, but we are moving to the downside. The indices are also seeing a little bit of downside pressure. Nothing major, but we are seeing a little bit, a very, very small amount of selling pressure. Now, why is this? What's going on? Why are things not really moving too much? Well, it's because of PPI. PPI and CPI are very intertwined. And the PPI report gave traders or investors a relatively good idea of where CPI would be going. So it wasn't a shock. Just because the number came out at 2.9 and consensus was 3, it's not like oh my God, the markets are crashing, or oh my God, the Fed's going to cut 50 basis points. Well, no, it's more just a case of, okay, well, we kind of had an idea anyway. So nothing shocking, and yeah, we are still expecting the rate cuts to come. So in terms of the dollar, we're in this uptrend. You can see we've got this really nice trend line to the upside. We also have a trend line to the downside, creating I think this is a flag is what people call this. I'm not 100% sure, but it's sort of triangle cheese pattern. And now, due to CPI, we are starting to see this looking like we're going to break. Now, whether this will hold, I don't know. We will see. However, in my book, I am more in the mindset that we will see a lower dollar. Now, that's taken into account the cuts, but we also need to keep in mind that the ECB, the Bank of England, they're all very dovish. It's not a case of the dollar's now just going to fall off a cliff, or the dollar pairs are going to be such as pound dollar, euro dollar, are all just going to zoom up to the upside. Now, that could happen, but it's not something I'm really banking on too much right now anyway. As I said, it's the expectation of a rate cut is essentially 100% according to the CME Fed Watch. Now, that's generally very accurate. So if we do see a 25 basis point cut, I don't see it being a huge shock. It's not something I expect to see the dollar now just fall off a cliff and start heading, back down to sort of the 89 to 90 area. That could happen over time. But yeah, I don't think a 25 basis point cut has that much power behind it. Possibly, if it was a huge shock and no one was expecting it, we would see a lot more movement to the downside. But yeah, just because it's very, very expected, it's priced in, it's not going to be anything too crazy. So it wouldn't shock me if we do see, a slight lower move due to PPI or CPI today, and then a small correction from CPI. and then Fed cuts come and we do start seeing a lower dollar. So that's just my view. You know, this, I might update this view as we get closer to the cuts or the FOMC. We'll see. You know, we'll see. But yeah, that's just my view at the time being. So yeah, be safe. Don't gamble news. I hope you all had a profitable day, and I will see you later.